The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're webcasting to you live from the Center for Autism and Related Disorders headquarters in Tarzana, California. It is Friday and very excited to be here today. It is day 4 of our Festival of Toys. We have had a really exciting week, and I won't say that we won't do any more toys throughout the next couple of weeks because we will. We will feature some more toys, and we're going to be giving away a lot of toys, but the Toy Festival itself kind of ends today. And we've got some really exciting things that we're going to be giving away today. If you've been watching the show, you know that we've already started our holiday giveaway. And every hour that we are live between now and December 20th, when we go off the air at noon on December 20th, Pacific Standard Time, we will have given away at least one fabulous toy or gift each one of those live hours. So there's a very simple way that you can participate and win one of these spectacular items. And if you're watching the show, we will tell you at the top of the hour what the item is that we're giving away. In this hour, we are going to give away 4, count them, 4 of Kidz Bop's Christmas CDs, because in just a little while we're going to be joined by the Kidz Bops themselves. So we're going to give away 4 of those CDs today, the Christmas CDs, and in the next hour I'll tell you what the toys are, but they're pretty fabulous. You're not going to believe how incredible they are, in fact. But here's how you participate. So I've told you what the toy of the hour is. You need to watch this hour. At some point, Emily will flash on the screen a word or a phrase, and you'll want to email that word or phrase to the address that she's got up there right now. You want to put in the subject line of the email what the toy or item is that you wanted. Sometimes there's more than one toy offered in the hour. That will be the case next hour. So make sure that you specify in the subject line which toy is that you want to win, and in the body of the email you will put whatever the word or phrase is that Emily flashes on the screen. Only Emily knows what those words or phrase are. I don't know. I don't know when they're going to appear, but as you watch the show you'll be able to see. So you need to email that correct response, the toy or the gift in the subject line, and the word or phrase in the body of the email. You email that to us. It must get to us by 7 a.m. the following morning, and that's Pacific time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So for many of you, I know you don't watch the show live because you're at work or you're at therapy with your child, but you come home and you watch it later on. Just make sure that you get in those responses by 7 a.m. the next morning. And again, remember, the gift this hour, we're going to give away 4 different copies. So there's going to be 4 winners this hour of that Kidz Bop Christmas CD. So exciting. And they are going to be here with us in a little while, and they're going to sing, and you're going to see how fabulous this is. Okay, but tons and tons of giveaways. Yesterday, we gave away a dollhouse that was a $300 value, and many more gifts that we gave away yesterday. So every hour, and every single toy that we have featured this week will be given away at some point, and sometimes we have multiples of those toys. So tell your friends, watch, and enter to win. Okay, this entire show, and we are going to be live for the next 2 hours, this entire show is meant to be interactive. We want you to participate. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to know what you're worried about, questions that you have, and what kinds of things you'd like to see in future shows. There's lots of different ways to interact. Emily's going to show you some of the different ways that you can interact, while I remind you that if you go to www.autism-live.com, you can watch the live show there just by clicking on, there's a computer screen, click on the little triangle, You can either watch the live show if you've caught us at that time, or you can be watching the most recently recorded live show, or scroll through the last few shows to pick the topics that you want to watch. The box next to that, the long, white, skinny, white box, that's your opportunity to put your cursor there, type away, hit enter. It shows up here on my screen. There is a little bit of a time lag, so make sure that you're asking your questions as early in a segment as you want if you want our guests to respond. But you can 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can write in on this live feature. I know throughout the week you guys have been writing in things for Dr. Doreen. If you have questions that are specific for other guests, you can write them in ahead. We save them for the appropriate show. I'm looking at one right now for Dr. Doreen on Wednesday, which reminds me, don't forget that on Wednesday's show, on the 27th of November, next Wednesday, Dr. Doreen Grandpichet will be here, and we're devoting that entire hour with her to anxiety. So if you have questions about anxiety or compulsive, that obsessive compulsive kinds of stuff that you or your child might be engaging in, this is the week where we're devoting the whole hour to it, because we want to be thankful for having less anxiety and dealing with less anxiety issues, right? So that's on Wednesday. So write those questions, suggestions, whatever, in on that live feature. It's free. You don't have to log in. There is no credit card information. In fact, we don't know anything about you, not even where you are. So be as specific as you can be in your questions. And if you want us to get back to you in some other way than this live feature, make sure that you include contact information. We won't share that with the audience at large. I have a way of editing that out, which is sweet, right? Okay, we also like to remind you at the start of the show, I do anyway, that I am not an expert in autism. We're going to talk about autism from a 360-degree perspective here, which is why we have all these different guests that will join us, but I am not an expert in autism. I'm a parent, and so I dabble in autism. My son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5. He is 10 now, and he is the light of my life, the center of my world, and I'm incredibly grateful for all the help and support that we've received along the way. And if I can pay that forward to you and to yours in any way, shape, or form by connecting you with people who are experts in autism, who are experts at one phase of autism, whether it's finding the funding or figuring out what to feed your child so that you'll have a pleasant time at the dinner table, then that fulfills my mission, because a long time ago I sat on that kitchen floor with the tears streaming down saying, oh, what am I going to do? And, universe, help me, and if you help me figure this out, I will do whatever I can to help the next person in line, right? I know a lot of us share that mission. So we hold hands together on this journey, we share information, and every time you guys ask a question, you're really being of service to the entire community, because your question may help someone else to know the kinds of questions that they might be considering asking. So, and on top of that, if there's an answer to the question, how much does that help everybody? We hold hands together on this journey, and we can all see progress. Whether you're a parent, teacher, practitioner, or you yourself are on the spectrum, there's so much hope, there's so much progress that we can see if we share information and let people know the resources that are out there. That's why we're here. Okay, we like to start every morning with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym, and we try to figure out just what exactly are these experts talking about, and how can this make sense in how does this word, this phrase, this acronym help us to see progress with what we have going on in our homes. So all this week we've been talking about different types of play. Today our term is socio-dramatic play. Oh, doesn't that sound like fun? It actually is. So let's take a look at our actual definition. Sociodramatic play, symbolic play involving acting out social scenarios. Children assume roles using themselves and/or characters like dolls, figures, and puppets as they interact together on common themes. Okay, makes a certain amount of sense, right? It's a little jargon intensive, so let's see if we can pare it down a little bit in our working definition. This is pretend play, where children play the parts of adults, like parents, teachers, police, etc. It can be solitary or in groups and may or may not involve dressing up in costumes. So, to put this whole progression together, we talked a little bit about functional pretend play, those toys that kind of look like the real thing, but in a plastic scaled down version, the play hamburger, the play vacuum cleaner, all those toys. There's a whole aisle in toy stores that's the functional pretend play, right? And then we get into symbolic play, where we're taking something that isn't what it actually is. I've got a mustache here, right? This is not really what a mustache looks like. It doesn't have a stick, and this is paper. But, I can make this work and make it represent a mustache for Movember. Then we get into imaginary play, where, we're making it up completely, that I can pretend completely and say that I'm fishing right now with a fishing reel, and I've caught a fish, right? It's completely out of my imagination. When we go to sociodramatic play, I'm going to take on a role. I'm going to say, right now I am the policeman, or I'm the fireman, or I'm the teacher, and everybody take out your books, right? And we see that this is so important to our kids' development. And it's a safe way for them to work on social issues and learn through observation, with a huge safety net where they really can't fail. It helps to make them aware of relationships and what's appropriate and what isn't appropriate, and perspective taking. Because if I'm going to play the mom, what are the things that mom does, right? I have to stop and think, what kinds of things does a mom do? And if I'm going to play the fireman, what kinds of things I have to put myself mentally in the fireman's shoes for a couple of seconds. Great play. You'll see almost every single preschool and kindergarten has some sort of a place where they can engage in sociodramatic play, whether it's a little house or there's a little kitchenette or something like that. And sometimes they'll have costumes that the kids can put on the little, fake fireman outfit, and then they pretend to be the fireman. Really great for development, and important that we do this as early as possible, so that we're building those skills for them to take with. It's harder, frankly, when you have an 8-year-old who doesn't know how to do sociodramatic play. It's harder to get them to do it and to role play. It's not impossible, but if you can start with a 3-year-old and have them put on the hat and pretend that there's somebody else, it's going to progress really quickly, and we're going to get to that imaginative play much quicker, but it builds social skills. So that's sociodramatic play, and it's why it's so important. All right, we always have a question of the day for you. We hope you're answering that on Facebook, and we're going to check in a little bit later on today to see some of the kinds of things that you guys have written in on Facebook. Today we want to know what kinds of play, now that you know all these different kinds of play, the functional pretend, and there's many more, right? But there's playing with electronics, all these different things. Maybe it's sand and water that your child, but we want to know, what kinds of play does your child enjoy the most? And it's good for us to talk about all these different ways that children play, and also, as I mentioned before, you're being of service, because there might be somebody out there who says, I just don't know how to get my child to play. That's a very typical thing to hear from an autism parent, because as we know, our kids don't always just love to play. To them, sometimes it seems like work, and it's not very gratifying. We can change that equation with good toys and with patience and rewarding good play behavior. But there might be some things that you haven't thought of. As I mentioned, sand and water, that's a lot of our kids on the spectrum love the tactile of that. Just as many kids, though, find it aversive because it's wet and it gets muddy and they get dirty and it's sensory, right? So it'll give other people ideas if you write in and say, what kind of play does your child enjoy the most? We'll check in a little bit later to see what you guys wrote in. We always have a topic of the week, and of course, our topic this entire week, glorious toys. How much do we love toys? I love going in my office right now because toys are coming in and toys are going out. It really feels just a little elfin to me which, you know, years and years ago, I was an elf at Macy's at Santaland in New York City in Herald Square. And oh, what a fun job to be there to see that level of happiness on kids' faces. So toys, you just have to love it. And we're going to continue to talk about toys today. It is day 4 of the Festival of Toys. Some of the different things that we're going to be talking about during this hour. The Kidz Bop group is going to be with us in just a few minutes. They're going to be Skyping live from Texas, where they're getting ready to perform this weekend. Amazing group of young people, talented, really incredible young people who work so hard, and they make the fabulous CDs. And we're going to talk about why these CDs are so great for our kids. And this again is, you know, it could be for the very young kids to listen to music, but our teenagers on the spectrum love these CDs. So we're going to be talking with the actual Kidz Bop. So they're going to be here, and as I mentioned, we're going to be giving away some of their Christmas CDs today. And then in the next hour, we're going to have a representative from Little Pim. I talked to you guys about this the other day, a doll that helps our kids learn other languages. It is the cutest, most clever thing, and especially for those of you who have been writing in and saying, my older child is really into things like Baby Einstein and that kind of thing, and you're wanting to do something that is a little bit more productive for their age level, wait till you see Little Pim. And even for the littler kids, they're just going to adore Little Pim. And then also in the next hour, we're going to be, in addition to, I guess I'm going to give it away, we're going to give away a Little Pim in the next hour. And Lego Corporation, they wanted to be here for the Festival of Toys. They couldn't be here themselves, so they sent a really fabulous Lego gift. So we're going to be giving away a Little Pim and a fabulous Lego, and talking a little bit about why Legos are so cool for our kids on the spectrum. So all of that, much more, including your questions after this break. Don't go away, because you're going to want to hear these Kidz Bop kids sing. Stick with us. Hi, we're at the Toys R Us in Porter Ranch, California. And Emily and I are going to take a little tour around the store and find some great toys for some great kids.
All right, let's go.
Come with us.
Yes.
Okay, bring your dinosaur and come on. Let's go look at things in the game aisle.
Okay.
I know you love games.
I do look.
All right. So here we are in the game aisle, Emily, and I want to show you that there's all these games that you can get for kids of all ages. They're interactive and really remarkable. One of the hot toys this year and many other years is the Bop It toy.
Okay, so what about the Bop It is so reinforcing?
Well, you know what? It can be interactive. It can be a social game. It makes lots of noises. Sometimes they light up depending on the version. It helps to work on fine motor skills, and it helps to work on fluency. This toy will grow with the child, and in fact, you can get it in different versions. This is a little bit more complex version, and up top here we have one that's especially for older kids. It's called the Smash the Light. I would wait until a child is older to play with this one. So should we check out the Lego aisle?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go. So how can we use Legos to help our kids?
Well, they're really spectacular toys for our kids because they work on executive functions and planning. They're really colorful. You can work on colors and grouping and matching, counting, because they have the little dots on the top. And if you have a younger child, you can start with the Duplo toys that are compatible with Lego and don't have the choking hazard.
So then as the kids get older, what's great about Legos, it looks like, is that there's all sorts of themes. We've got movies here and video games, so the kids can really connect with what's personal to them. So Legos are amazing, but what else do we have to see?
Let's look at some educational toys in the leapfrog aisle, shall we? Okay.
Okay, so what do you have here?
Well, we're in the leapfrog aisle. This particular toy, very popular this year, is a leap reader. It comes with a little pen, and it tells us that we're going to read, write, and listen, all skills that we want to work on with a child. This pen that's in this box, you can put it over different pages in the book. It will read aloud to the child. They can trace their letters. It reinforces them for doing a great job. It's a really spectacular toy for our younger kids that are working on reading, writing, and listening.
This looks like a lot of fun and a really great way to help our kids learn to read and write.
Absolutely.
What else are we going to play with today?
I think we should take a trip down the functional pretend play aisle. This is where you're going to find all the things that are like real, but the toy version. So I've got this lovely set here that's all fresh vegetables, so I'm teaching nutrition at the same time. They're all appropriately colored, but I've got a knife so I can be cutting them too. This is really great play for a young child.
Shannon, I heard you got some toys that I get to play with now.
Yes, I'm going to take you to the demo table. We're going to let Emily play with some toys, and we're going to be giving some of these toys away on the show. But they're not just any toys. These are toys that are featured in this year's Toys R Us toy guide for differently abled children. And this is put together with the help of our friends at Lecotech.
So what do all these different icons mean?
These are different icons that tell us what skill this toy might help to develop in our children.
So can I play with the toys now?
Yes, it's time to play with the toys, Emily.
So I think I recognize this guy.
Yes, this is the ever popular and very sweet Elmo. But this is a very specific Elmo that teaches adaptive skills like zippering.
Almost yellow triangle zipper.
And so we get the reinforcement of Elmo talking to us when we do these things. There's a let's keep playing, so it encourages the child to continue to interact, and he's very reinforcing. When he giggles, I just want to hug him and play with him some more. Okay, so moving on, let's look at some Melissa and Doug toys. These are incredible toys. They'll last several different generations because they're made out of good quality wood.
Awesome.
And let's start with a lace and trace toy. Now, I happen to know that you love turtles,
I
Emily.
do love turtles.
And this is a set of farm animals lace and trace, and the child can pick out a color that they like for a lace.
All right.
And there are lots of different things that they can do with this. And I know it might seem like this is an old-fashioned toy, but you know, sometimes the old-fashioned toys are the best toys, because what you're doing right now, Emily, is that you're using a lot of hand-eye coordination and you're using the pincer grasp. This is a precursor to writing right here. If you've got a child who's having difficulty holding a pencil, this is a really reinforcing way to work on this. And it comes in lots of different things. And then also for Melissa and Doug, we have this amazing switch and spin. Love this so much. This is a great cause and effect toy. As we start to put the gears together, we notice that when you turn one, another one can turn. You can rearrange this and do it in lots of different ways. There are 10 design boards, so you don't have to just do fish. There are other things that you can put there instead.
That's awesome.
Kids love this toy, and it's another Melissa and Doug toy.
Cool.
All right, let's take a look at some fun games.
So I found this game, and it's called Fibber. So Shannon, I'm going to need you to put on your fibbing glasses.
I want a fib.
All right. So this game is totally reinforcing, and it helps our kids to work on lying.
Yes, and that's something we really, I know it sounds strange, but we want to work on that, because being able to tell a lie is something that helps with safety issues. And also being able to tell if somebody else is lying is a really useful life skill.
What you need to do is get rid of your cards without trying to grow your nose, kind of like Pinocchio.
Okay.
But if you get caught...
And so eventually you can have a whole string of noses attached to the end of your nose. Very colorful. Again, we can be working on the colors. Kind of hilarious. A kid's going to want to play this with mom or dad and see that mom is Pinocchio telling lots of lies. I like this game a lot.
This is a great game.
We've had a really great time at Toys R Us, and all of the toys that you see here on the table we're going to be giving away on the show. So stay tuned to find out how you can win one of these great toys.
Welcome back to Autism Live. We're very excited right now because joining us via Skype, we have the Kidz Bop. They are in Texas via Skype. There they are. And so we have Stefan, Charisma, Elijah, and Kiana, and together they are Kidz Bops. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, I have to say what lovely, talented teenagers you are, but you're also very busy professional professionals working, and we appreciate so much that you gave us some time today to be with us. So first of all, thank you. And second, you guys have a Christmas CD out right now that we're going to be giving some of those away in this hour. Tell us a little bit about the Christmas CD and what's on it.
It's really cool. It has like all the most famous Christmas songs on it, you know, sung by kids for kids. So it's really fun. It really gets you in the Christmas spirit, and it's awesome.
Makes you feel warm inside.
It does. But you guys also, I mean, Kidz Bop has put out so many different CDs. The current one that's out right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is 24, Kidz Bop 24?
Yes.
Yeah.
And these are incredible CDs for any kid. They're a great gift to give because it's the hottest music. But I have to say also that for our kids on the autism spectrum, that sometimes it's important to get them up to speed with what's current, but a lot of times the music that's out there, they're not having fun accessing, but you guys make it really accessible for our kids to listen to. We know science has shown that they'd rather listen to another kid sing than an adult sing. So we thank you for doing these CDs and making them so popular because it helps our kids on the spectrum to be able to access that stuff that's current, and that really helps them with social skills. So what kinds of songs are on Kidz Bop 24?
Kidz Bop 24, so we have all top 40 hits. So like we have a couple Justin Bieber songs on there.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
Justin Bieber, okay. Very cool. But let's go back to the Christmas CD a little bit because I understand you guys are willing to sing a little a cappella for us from one of the Christmas CDs.
Yes.
You'd be willing to do that? Okay, so we'd love to. This is Kidz Bop, everybody.
All right. Well, actually, the songs that we're going to be singing are on Kidz Bop 24. So
Okay, great.
The preview of, yes.
Okay.
Kidz Bop.
All right, go ahead.
Cause you make me feel like I'm not heaven. Want to love, want to love. You make me feel like I'm not heaven. Want to love, want to love.
Remarkable. You guys are so talented. We have to talk for just a second about how old you are. Each one of you tell us how old you are.
I'm 15. I'm 15.
I'm 16 and I just turned 15.
Amazing. Such talented young people in such young bodies. We're going to pause for a second and show a videotape of you guys performing, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing this weekend and how people can come and see you guys perform live. So stick with us, don't go anywhere, and take a look at these talented young performers.
I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. You drove your car across the bridge, I watched you let it turn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. You drove your car across the bridge. I don't care, I love it. I don't care. I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. You drove your car across the bridge, I watched you let it turn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs.
Those are the amazing Kidz Bop who we have here with us via Skype. It's Stefan, Charisma, Elijah, and Kiana. You guys are incredible, and I'm told, because I got to see you on the big screen here, but I'm told that you guys were all grooving out and dancing during, that you guys just can't stop moving. I love it. You guys are so talented, and it's, as I said before, this is the kind of music that's so great for our kids to listen to because it's accessible to them. They're going to want to like it because it's kids' voice singing to them, infinitely more accessible for our kids on the spectrum. And of course, we've been showing the whole time you guys have been up about your website, where there's a whole bunch of information on your website. There's games that kids can play. You have a wonderful, if parents are curious, you have a wonderful gift giving guide for the holidays that has different items, including toothbrushes that play Kidz Bop's tunes on them. Really remarkable, and all the CDs that you guys offer. In particular, today we're talking about the Christmas CD that you guys have out, because we're giving away 4 copies of that CD during this hour, and we're going to continue giving away more copies in the coming days. But you guys are really talented, and you're the cool kids, if you don't mind me saying. You're role models. People look up to you. They look at you and they want to be like you. And I'm wondering if you guys could say anything about what you think about bullies, and when kids treat kids who are different differently, what example the cool kids need to be giving for those different kids.
I think always something I say is treat others when you want to be treated. That's the favorite. Treat somebody mean for no reason.
And we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, but what he just said was, treat people like you want to be treated. So very important that, people hear that and hear that from you guys, because let's face it, the cool kids set standards, right? So we appreciate you guys being wonderful role models. We understand that you guys are in Texas right now. So tell us what you're doing in Texas.
We're here for our show tonight. And second, where is our show tonight? The Victorian Arts Center. Yeah. It's at, the doors open at 5 and the show starts at 6. It's a really high energy show. It's super cool. It's a lot of fun. And we hope that everybody who can will make it. It's super fun, and the show's almost sold out. So make sure you buy your tickets.
Buy your tickets if you want to jam out and listen to some awesome tunes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
and I imagine lots of dancing in the show. And is that the only show this weekend, or you have another show tomorrow night?
We have another show tomorrow night in Tyler, Texas, right, in the Caldwell Auditorium.
Very cool. I have a bunch of friends in Tyler, Texas, so I'm going to make sure that they know about you guys. They probably already know, and they're probably already going. But Tyler's
the doors open at 4, and the
4.
show starts at 5.
Okay, great. I love that those things start a little bit earlier, because sometimes people want to take some younger kids and there's a bedtime issue. And if people want to find out more about events like this and to see if you're coming to their area, do they go to the website as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. And so we want to stress that this fabulous Christmas CD is out there. And I know, parents have we spend a lot of time in the car with our kids. And we're always talking about how you can make that car time useful, that you're learning things, but also de-stressing. And a great thing to be doing during the holidays is playing this Kidz Bop's Christmas CD in the car while you're traveling. Your kids will soak it in. And we know that sometimes song is a way to get to language skills. So I understand that you guys have another song that you're going to sing for us. Is it from Kidz Bop 24 or from the Christmas CD?
Kidz Bop 24.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's from Kidz Bop 23. But it's one of the songs that are in our show.
Okay. So if they come to see the show tonight or tomorrow night, this song will be in the show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hit us with the next song.
Okay. We could have had it all. Holding in the sea. Had my heart inside your hand. And you play it
Wow, love it. You guys are just awesome. I'm wondering for our viewers at home watching, how you guys, like, were you taking singing lessons and dancing lessons when you were really little?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us were. Like, we were all taking lessons. We just practice we can put on the best show for our fans.
And are you having a great time doing this?
Yeah.
We're living the dream.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like it's a dream. Well, we think that you guys are incredible. We appreciate your support for the autism community. We hope that you have incredible shows this weekend coming up in Texas, and that people will go to your website to not only check out some of the activities and things that you guys have there for kids to do, including games, but to check out the events that you guys are performing around the country, and to get some of these CDs. There are so many CDs to choose from, but these are wonderful things to be using with your child to help them access current music. And we all know that's a big part of a social experience. You guys are teenagers. Listening to music is a big part of what you do with your friends, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it can be hard sometimes to get our kids up to speed, but this is the ideal way, I think, to do that with our kids, to get them caught up. I know my son loves you guys, so we thank you so much for the work that you're doing. As we leave you guys, we're going to be showing another clip of you guys performing. But we know you guys have to get back and get ready for your show and rest up. Even though you're young, you have endless energy. I'm sure I'm sure you've got a schedule there. But thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, I can't hear them. Have you got the memo? There we are. Okay. But thank you guys, and have great shows. And remember, everybody who's watching, go to Kidz Bop, check out these CDs. So take care, you guys.
Bye. Thank you so much.
And so we're thank you. And we're going to go to another clip of them performing for your listening and visual pleasure. Here they are, Kidz Bops.
Hey baby, won't you look my way? I could be your new prediction.
Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction.
I'm a sorry someone, and this happens all the time. I found out that everybody talks.
Everybody talks.
Everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her. And then she made my heart hurt. I could hear the chit-chat. Baby, bring your love back. Mama's always got a backtrack when everybody talks back.
Hey honey, you could be my love. You could be my new prediction.
Too much kids send it overboard. All this trash talk make me itching. Oh my sugar, everybody talks.
Everybody talks.
Everybody talks too much. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her. And then she made my heart hurt. I could hear the chit-chat. Baby, bring your love back. Mama's always got a backtrack when everybody talks back. Never thought I'd live to see the day when everybody's words got in
Okay, how much do we love them? Could they be any cuter? And again, I want to reiterate how incredible this music can be for our children. That there's a story that's been in the news lately about a little boy on the spectrum who previously has had no words and was listening to a Katy Perry song that just was playing in his life, and his mother had no expectation of anything, and then at some point, his little voice just chimed up and sang part of that Katy Perry song. We never know how much our kids can take in receptively, and at what point it can sort itself out and become language. Right? We've had Carly Fleischman's dad on before, Carly of Carly's Voice. Carly, a young woman who had no language and no communication skills, not even functional communication skills, for a long period in her life. I can't remember whether she was 10, 11, 12, when finally, that her parents didn't believe that she understood anything that was being said, did not think that she could read or could spell. I mean, she was going to school, but there had been no indication that she could communicate in any way, and leaned over and typed on someone's computer, "My teeth hurt, help." And now, if you haven't been to Carly's blog, you need to visit Carly's blog, because she is prolific in what she writes and says, and is an outspoken advocate for kids who cannot speak. And she writes about the fact that it was all kind of garbled until she was 10 years old, and then her brain started to sort out sounds and be able to understand what was happening so that she could receptively take language in. We always want to presume that some of it is getting through and keep feeding that, right? Music is a great way to do that. And a lot of the music that's out there nowadays, Emily and I were just talking that if you notice, some of the lyrics are changed so that they're more kid-friendly, because a lot of the concepts that are in songs are not things that I really want to be having discussions with my son about. There are a lot of sexual overtones and things that, not that they're horrible and that we don't want them to think about and be concerned about later on, but maybe not, until it's time, right? I don't need the education for that to come at 10 in musical form. And a lot of the stuff can be abrasive to them just sound-wise. It's a little bit too much. But the Kidz Bops takes that music that is so core to the social circumstances of their lives and makes it possible for them to access it in a way that's appropriate for their age and appropriate for them because they're hearing kids do it. All young kids like the Kidz Bops, right? It's not, we should be clear about the fact that it's not music designed for kids on the autism spectrum. It just happens to be luscious for them. So definitely go to their website, see what that's about. Even one of the toys that they have is a portable CD karaoke machine. I have to say, if you've got a little one on the spectrum who has shown an interest in microphones, what a great superlative gift. I'm here with my little press release from them, not entirely useful to you, but it's a Kidz Bop karaoke, lets you be the star of the show. It plays a CD, and there's a microphone that goes with it so that they can sing along. Gotta say, great gift for a kiddo on the spectrum. And encouraging that, expression. My son, before he regressed into autism, was a little performer. He constantly sang. I had a guitar, and we would have people over, and he would go and get the guitar, and he would strum it, and then he would pose. And then I didn't think that he'd ever seen Elvis, but I'm talking about right before he was turning 2, and he would strum, and then he would pause, and he would wait for the applause, and then he would go, thank you, and just have us all on the floor. Loved it. And then that went away. Autism came, and that went away, and I did not think that we were ever going to get that back. I said goodbye to it in my heart, and I said we're gonna work on what we got to work on, and we're going to prioritize that for him to be able to express himself in some way. We got language back, and we got sentences back, and he would listen to music, but we weren't getting a lot of him participating. All the other kids would sing, and he wasn't doing it. And then we took him to see Peter Pan on stage with Kathy Rigby. And I've talked about this before on the show, and I'm not going to get all emotional again. At least I'm going to try. It's Friday, so there's no guarantees, right? But we left that show, and for me, it was a full circle moment because I had seen the show 10 years before when I didn't have a child, wasn't a mother, and sat there and said, oh my gosh, I was really wanting a child and was like, this is the ultimate experience to take a child to. And then 10 years later, I get to take my child, and it was just amazing and magic. And, he watched, and his eyes were as big as dinner plates. And when she flies out over the audience and sprinkles the fairy dust, I don't care if you are like the most cynical, hardened criminal, you're on your feet and just like, going crazy because you can't not. It's amazing, right? And so we were thrilled to be there and thrilled to have that opportunity. And the next day, I woke up to my son singing Zippity Doo-Dah, and which is not, if you know Peter Pan, is not one of the songs in Peter Pan, but he was singing Zippity Doo-Dah and sang the whole rest of the day, and the following Monday joined the chorus at his school and sings in the chorus all the time. You can't and it's a big self-esteem boost for him, but you can't minimize how important music is, and music that comes in a package that's accessible for kids. You can't believe what a game changer it can be. So in any case, Kidz Bop, great thing to do for your kids. Play it in the car, make it accessible, and here's a Christmas CD. I'm really, really excited about this and thrilled. We're giving away 4 of those in this hour, and we're going to continue to give more of them. We have 20 of them to give away between now and December 20th, so stay tuned for that. And we love that these just amazing, inspirational teens took some time out of their schedule to be with us today. So we're going to take a short break, come back. I have got an important update on something that you're going to want to hear about that to help us to learn what to do to teach our children safety issues. Really super important every time of the year, but especially there's a lot of crowds right now for holiday events. So stick with us for that. And don't forget, in the next hour, Little Pim, and we're going to be talking about Lego. So stick with us.
Hi everyone! Thanksgiving is fast approaching, and we thought it'd be really fun to teach you a gluten-free stuffing recipe with help from Breads from Anna. Now this is a 2-day recipe, and so day 1 we're going to make this bread. Here's what you're going to need. 1 package of Breads from Anna bread mix, 1 packet of active dry yeast, 3 eggs, 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons sugar, 1/4 cup of oil, 1/2 cup of warm water, 1 teaspoon ground sage, thyme, rosemary, 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, and then a pinch of tarragon, onion powder, marjoram, and garlic powder. On day 2, when we put the stuffing together, here's what you'll be needing. 6 tablespoons of butter, 1/2 bulb of fennel, 1 chopped onion, 2 chopped carrots, 1/2 cup of gluten-free chicken broth, 1 teaspoon of ground sage, thyme, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt and pepper. All right, step 1, we're going to dissolve our sugar into our water. And then we're going to go ahead and add our active yeast. We're going to dissolve all these together. So we're going to just set this aside. Now we're going to take our bread mix right on over to our mixer. So first things first, we're going to put all our liquids together before we add in our dry bread mix. We're putting in 3 eggs, our oil, apple cider vinegar, water, and our water, yeast, sugar mixture. We're going to blend these all together. So once our liquids are all mixed together, we're going to go ahead and add our bread mix. We're also going to add all of our spices now. Okay, now that our bread's been mixed, we're going to spoon this into a bread dish and we're going to let it rise for about an hour. Okay, so now that we've let this rise for about an hour, we're going to bake it at 375 for another hour. All right, it's been an hour, so let's grab our bread out of the oven. We're gonna let this cool for a little bit, and then we're gonna actually cube the bread, and we're gonna toast it in the oven just a little bit longer to dry it out so that when we add it to the vegetables, it'll make a really great stuffing. So as you can see, we've toasted our little breads here in the oven, and now what we're gonna do is saute some of these vegetables so that we can mix it in with the bread and make our final stuffing combination. So we'll start with the butter. So we're going to start with our onions so that we can make sure these are good and cooked before we add the other vegetables. They cook a little bit longer. Okay, those are looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and add our fennel, our carrots, our garlic, and then all our spices. You're going to want to cook this until the carrots especially are nice and soft. Our vegetables are pretty soft here, so what we're going to do is go ahead and mix this with our bread. We're also going to go ahead now and add our half a cup of broth. So once these are mixed together, we're going to go ahead and pour it into our greased baking dish, and we're going to bake it an additional 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Okay, I think it's ready. Da, da, da. All right, and we can add a little garnish here. Perfect, and it's ready for Thanksgiving dinner. To learn how you can win some breads from Anna, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/autism-live. Until next time, happy holidays.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I mentioned before we went to break that we have, oh, my phone is very loud today. Forgive me. We have been talking about safety issues, right? So I wanted to take a second and I want to let you know about something that is available to you right now that is from the Autism Research Group. So, and the Autism Research Group is a very trusted name in the field of autism. We have Dr. Jonathan Tarbox come on usually on Fridays. He is the director of the Autism Research Group. I've talked to you before about the fact that they do research on things that are driven by what is useful to people who are working with kids, parents, and practitioners on a daily basis. So, a newly launched Lost in Public video produced by the Autism Research Group demonstrates how to use rules, role-playing, and praise to teach children what to do if they get lost. And again, this is being put out by the Autism Research Group, ARG. They launched this Lost in Public video, 5 minutes long, that instructs children and guardians how to use rules, role-playing, and praise to teach children what to do if they get lost in public. So the way that you can access this video, I'm taking a look at this and seeing, I think you need to go to their website. Why on earth does it not have this? Yes, autismresearchgroup.org, www.autismresearchgroup.org, and it can be viewed there. In 2012, ARG published a study in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis that evaluates how rules, role-playing, and praise were effective in establishing help-seeking behaviors in children with autism. And this video was created not just for families of children with autism, but as a tool for all families to use in order to prevent an unfortunate and terrifying incident from occurring. Now, that quote comes from Ryan Bergstrom. He works for ARG, and they are a nonprofit organization, and they are dedicated to using science to help individuals on the autism spectrum with autism spectrum disorder. And Ryan also said, we study ways to improve the lives of children with autism. One way is by teaching them safety skills, such as what to do when they get lost. We also study the art of teaching what works, what doesn't. Okay, and he is an associate scientist, Ryan Bergstrom. He is a BCBA, and he actually went with a group of people and filmed this video on the streets of Los Angeles and Ryan Bergstrom actually instructs people about how to teach a child how to do this. Lost in Public provides alternative to commonly used method of establishing a meeting spot to a child who's lost and nervous and may not be able to find the meeting spot. Instead, it teaches children to do 3 things if they can't find their parent. First thing is to yell for their mom or their dad, and if that doesn't work, the second thing is to find a store employee. If the child can't find an employee, then they're told to look for a mom with kids, and the third thing is to inform an employee or someone, a first responder, if they're lost. Once the child has mastered these rules, family can practice with their child in real-world situations by role-playing that they are lost. When the child is successful during the role-playing, Ryan Bergstrom says that it's important to reinforce that correct responding with praise or reward, which seals the deal. And so thrilled now that you all have access to that by going to autismresearchgroup.org. Very important that you can go there and watch that video. I will tell you that some of the research that is involved in this study to be able to teach these skills, my son participated in that protocol, and we worked with him on these things. We've talked about that before on this show and how effective it has been and how we role-played that. And Ryan, who is an amazing scientist and a fabulous BCBA, was one of the first therapists that came to our door and worked with our son. If you've heard me tell the story about when my son would bang his head on the kitchen floor, and I was just in despair of how and when that was going to stop. And the first time that a therapist was in my house and he engaged in that behavior, it was Ryan. And that day that I talk about that changed my life forever, it was the end of Ryan's session. He was already doing his paperwork and getting out the door, and my son and I were in an exchange, and then my son went in and started beating his head on the floor, and I thought, oh, this is probably the second week of ABA therapy, and I thought, oh, and now this guy's going to leave, and I'm going to be stuck here with this. And Ryan said, oh, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm making a call and telling him that, I'm not leaving until we get through this together. And he became the voice in my ear to talk me through how I was not going to let my child get hurt, but that I was not going to give attention to the behavior, which is what I'd been doing in the past and was what was feeding the behavior. Ryan talked me through that whole thing and changed our lives. So that's the Ryan that we're talking about, that's now helping to change all of our lives to ensure that our kids know what to do if they get lost. We continue to cover the fact that a young person on the autism spectrum walked out of a school 6 weeks ago now in New York City. I'm talking about Avante Oquendo, and has not been seen. And, if I always like to say, our responsibility in this life, sometimes we're the lesson, and sometimes it's our responsibility to learn. And I can't imagine what it's like for Avante's family, but the rest of us can learn from it, and here's a great way that we can learn how to give skills to our child, empower our child to know what to do if and when they should ever become lost. Life-saving. So check that out, www.autismresearchgroup.org. We are going to take a break and go to the A Word. This is the amazing ongoing documentary being made at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders, following a little boy, Jack Riley, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. At this point, I believe that Jack Riley is 5. He's come a long way, but he's still got stuff that he's working on, emotional self-control, getting along with his sister, being social. So take a look. This is the A Word.
I know a cute little blue-eyed boy, and his name is Jack.
Jack Riley.
He got a big, warm, blue-eyed soul that makes your heart beat fast.
Exciting.
I say Jack, Jack, Jack is my buddy. Jack is my buddy. Everybody around is so down with Jack.
This is the sign they haven't. If you go that way, it would be to the end. So I have to go this way. I just remember this is the school.
He has this new infatuation with streets. First, we thought it was pretty cool because he was, it was like sight words, like he was learning how to read the street signs, and that was really cool. But then it turned into his new fetish, I guess you can say, where he starts to perseverate on the ways to go to like dad's work, the ways to go to school, the ways to go to camp, and like it's cool that he remembers how to go to places, but then it's to the point where if you take a different route, he gets really inflexible. So we're starting to break it and starting to redirect him to better questions like, oh, why are we taking this street, or where are we going, or who's going to be there, who am I going to see? More questions that are more relevant than street names. Are you playing your map still? Here's the deal, listen. You can play on your iPad, but you can't play this game.
We're very confident in the school that we're using this year. We're very happy there's only going to be 14 kids in his class. He's going to have a shadow, a brilliant shadow. So I'm excited about the school year.
We already set up goals for him at school. So a lot of them will be, for the most part, will be social goals, but we also have goals such as like him accepting changes in routine, being flexible about things. And for social goals, we have him initiating conversation with peers, and also having him be able to make at least 2 exchanges with the peer, whether it be answering a question or making a similar statement. For instance, like if the kid's like, oh, I like Toy Story, and he could say, oh, I like Toy Story too. Or something else like, oh, I don't like Toy Story, I like, A Bug's Life or something. Something else that is relevant, and he knows how to use these conversation skills that we've been teaching him at home and trying to generalize it with kids that are his age. So come September, I'm going to be shadowing Jack Riley at school every day for 3 hours a day instead of doing home therapy.
She's going to try to be noticed as little as possible by the teachers and the students. She's going to help all the kids so as not to stigmatize Jack. Well, the teacher said something very nice in our meeting today, and that is she wants him to have a friend. She wants him to, and he has kids he adores, but I don't know that he has a true friend yet where they engage and play together, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Welcome back to Autism Live. Really incredible series, The A Word. Encourage you to watch it and comment and interact with the family. They take questions, and they have their own Facebook page, and they post and give updates on what's happening in their family. They have been remarkably open and willing to let people come in and see the process from end to end, including the parts that aren't so nice. I really respect and admire this family. I've said it many times before. I relate to the mom on so many levels, and I kind of want to be more like her when I grow up. But I don't know when I'm going to grow up at this point. And I especially admire this dad and how honest he is sometimes with a level of frustration. I don't know what reminded me the other day, but I was reminded of a moment, and it was probably watching The A Word. I was reminded of a moment when I, very loudly said in a clinic room, it's really hard to parent by committee. And Jem's supervisor, lovely, lovely woman who is a miracle worker with kids on the autism spectrum, and she said, what do you mean? And I said, you can't possibly know how hard it is that, before we can make a decision, we all have to consult on that, and sometimes that's really emotionally very hard. I welcome and appreciate all the advice that you guys have given, and you've changed our lives, and I appreciate it so much, but it doesn't change the fact that sometimes it's hard for me, that I can't just, make a decision without consulting people. And she was so kind and sweet and said to me, you always can. You always can. We're here to help and support you in the things that you want to do. You feel free. And of course, I no sooner had said it, and then I felt bad, because always we were consulted about, we're going to start this next set of lessons, and would you like us to teach it this way? One of the easy examples I always go to is that when they were going to teach him labels for different people, they wanted to know, did we want him to learn the label women or ladies? So we were always consulted in every step of the way, and always encouraged to have it work in our home, in our culture, in our way of doing things. But but it's intrusive. Let's not kid ourselves here. Bringing a group of people in and letting them in on every phase of your child's development and your home and how how you put laundry from one room to where it needs to go to the laundry room. Your life is on parade, but for a really good cause, to make sure that your kid gets the help that they need. But I encourage you, watch the A Word. You'll see the full gamut, A to Z, of how life-changing and wonderful and miraculous and frustrating that it can sometimes be on this lengthy process. All worth it, but that doesn't mean it's heart, flowers, and roses, and I will not sit here and lie to you about that, but worth it. Best way you can spend your time in the world, because you will get to be a better parent. Your child will make progress, and it will change the way you look at everything in a positive way, in a very positive way. So check out the A Word, go to their site and take a look. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to be featuring a little Pim, a little doll that can help teach our children to speak other languages. So stick with us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hi, it's Lisa Ackerman back for What's Left. I got a nice guest with me today.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
We're going to make some healthy banana nut bread with no eggs. Maybe what you could do, Kristen, I'm going to add the flour.
Okay.
If you can get the bananas ready just by mashing them for me. So I'm going to go ahead and add our flour. Here's 1 cup of my all-purpose flour. I'm going to go ahead and add my baking soda and my salt and my xanthan gum. A half teaspoon of the salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is great, but you can also use gar gum. We can use flaxseed meal if we want to use a different binder. Remember, this is what helps keep your gluten-free flour held together. We're going to also add 1 cup of our organic cane sugar. There's a lot of variations on this as well. I can use maple syrup and honey and cook with it. That's a great way to go, but be careful, you may need to add some more flour into the mix. How are you doing, monkey?
I think
Perfect.
I can now say I officially mashed bananas.
You mashed the monkey bananas. So I'll go ahead and take your mashed monkey banana. Thank you very much. All we did, Kristen, lovely Vanna White, is mash up the bananas, getting ready to go for our dessert. So let's go ahead and add egg replacers. We've gotten a lot of feedback from y'all about not using eggs, and I know eggs are a big issue. So we talked about this. We're going to use a little flaxseed meal and arrowroot starch, and I love these, but whenever we use a dry ingredient, and an egg has a lot more moisture than these, so we want to be a little kind and maybe add a little water, or more fruit, or a coconut milk or something along those lines. So for this recipe, it calls for 2 eggs. So I'm actually going to use 1 teaspoon of each of these. Look at me using measuring devices. And add that into my mix, and that would be in place of any eggs that you would want in that recipe. Next up is the cinnamon and the nutmeg. This gives it the yum. Now, for kids who are really sensitive to different spices, you may want to go a little lighter on these. So for nutmeg, this calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon, so you really want to go light on the nutmeg. In fact, that's one you could probably cut back a little bit for kids who are really sensitive to smell or taste. And cinnamon, I love cinnamon. Did you know cinnamon has some antibacterial properties?
Yeah.
I love this stuff. So anytime I can add cinnamon to whatever, if your kid tolerates it, it's a great antibacterial. So I love that stuff. If you have a nut allergy, forget the nuts. But these are the chopped walnuts per the recipe. This is a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts, and I've got my lemon zest. And again, I love lemon zest. My son has grown to love it as I cook for him more often. And then the last thing that we're going to add here in our recipe is the 1/2 cup of oil. Thanks, Vanna White.
You're welcome.
And we'll go ahead. I use grapeseed. You can also use the different Earth Balance soy-free margarine melted.
Oh, okay.
That would be great. That gives a good texture. Awesome. Our mix is ready to go, Kristen. I'm going to put a little oil on the pan. And I love the consistency. Like you were saying, this looks a little bit like a thick pancake mix. Are you ready?
I think so. I just want to make sure I'm not the one that doesn't make it come out.
So again, it is a bit of a thicker texture. I'm going to go ahead and grab as much as I can out of my little mixing pan here. So let's go ahead and put this in the oven, 350 degrees for about 40 to 50 minutes, depending upon your oven and how long you want it to cook.
Ooh.
And this is what the finished product looks like. Yum!
Looks
so
yummy.
For me, this is probably one of the most nutritious, fun things that I can eat. I'm going to have you try some so you can tell me what you think.
I'll be happy to be the guinea pig.
Such
Ooh,
a
it
great
smells
texture.
so good.
So there you go.
Yummy.
I know. But go ahead and give it a shot and tell me what you think.
Let me see. That was really good.
Yeah.
It's
give me
moist
some of
too.
that. Thank you for joining us here at Autism Live. We've got a great, wonderful snack or breakfast that we can serve up for our kids. That's healthy, ready to go. Kristen, thanks for joining me this time.
Thank you for having me.
Love
It was
having you
fun.
here. And we'll see you next time at Autism Live. What's left? If you have any questions, you can email us at autismlive@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/autismlive. And if you need more recipes while we're in between shows, go off to the TACA website, tacanow.org. Click on gluten-free, casein-free, soy-free recipes and have a ball. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Welcome to Autism Live, and we are here with a very special guest. I told you that we were going to be talking about little Pim, and so joining us via Skype is Julia Pimsleur-Levine. Did I say your name correctly?
Levine, but
Levine. So thrilled to have you with us here today and to talk about this wonderful product. Tell us a little bit about little Pim.
Well, bonjour. Thanks for having me. Great to be here. So Little Pim is the #1 language teaching method for young children to learn a second language at the age they learn best, and that is 0 to 6. This allows them to do it at home, so they don't have to take them anywhere. It's one less class to take your children to. And it really just instills young children with a love of language learning and helps them master their first 360 words in a second language.
Really, really remarkable, and you do this very cleverly, and we have coming to us that we're going to be giving away one of them today, these plush pandas that help to sort of facilitate this, right? You've got one of them back there.
You're probably talking about this guy. So
He's
this is Little
gorgeous.
Pim.
How beautiful is he?
He is the teacher. So this is the teacher who works with your children to learn their first words in a second language, and that's part of why it's so successful, is that the kids are just having fun playing with this character, watching him have all kinds of adventures, and the next thing you know, they're speaking a second language, and they don't even know they're learning. That's sort of the secret sauce of Little Pim.
It's absolutely remarkable. And so where can viewers buy Little Pim?
Well, they can learn a lot more about language teaching for kids on our website and buy the products at littlepim.com. That's little P like Peter, IM.com. And it's also available at Toys R Us nationwide. So those are a couple of the good places to find us.
Really remarkable toy. And we want to talk more about how this toy can really help our kids on the autism spectrum. But first, we want you to see a video about showing how this toy works. So take a look. Emily's going to roll that clip, and we'll be back at the end of it to talk more with Julia about this remarkable toy.
La musique. Il aime la musique. Elle aime la musique. Elle tape des mains. Su papá. Su papá. Ella saluda. Él saluda. ¿Qué hace él? Sí, él saluda. Yo saludo.
Welcome back. We are here right now with Julia Pimsleur-Levine, and we're talking about Little Pim, a remarkable doll that can help our children to learn a second language. And I was mentioning before the break that we want to talk a little bit about why this toy is going to be remarkable for kids on the autism spectrum. And one of the things that I was really struck watching some of the different videos about this, Julia, is that a lot of our kids are so visual and they love to watch videos. Sometimes they have difficulty relating to other people, and that's something that we work on in other programs. But we need to foster language skills. And one of the things that people have reported is that while a child is learning their first language, English, and how to speak it, it's just as easy and sometimes more productive if they're working on a second language at the same time. And the fact that you've made that possible with this plush toy and doing it in a format that has the doll be the teacher and in an animated way with these lovely videos that are so concise in teaching the language, it really gives a platform that, while it's great for all kids, I think it's remarkably suited to kids on the autism spectrum.
That's great to hear. And even kids who are not on the autism spectrum tend to love learning through entertainment. Mm-hmm. And the name of our method is the entertainment immersion method. We really lead with the fun and the beautiful visuals. My background is actually as a filmmaker. That's what I was doing before I created Little Pim. And I created Little Pim because I wanted my son to learn French, and I also thought there should be an easy, fun way for all children to acquire a second language at the age that it's easy for them. So we do lead with the visuals, and we filmed it all with award-winning filmmakers and paid very careful attention to how the look and the feel of the video came across. So thank you for noticing that.
It's really incredible. And I know we, on a regular basis, have a lot of families who will write in and say that their kids love, in particular, things that are along the line of Baby Einstein and those visuals of kids and of the toys and numbers and things like that. And I was saying earlier in the show, a lot of times those parents are saying, but I want to do something that's a little bit more productive after my child has learned the alphabet, and after they've learned the letters, they still want to watch those Baby Einstein videos, and I wish there was something that taught more advanced skills. Well, here we have it. The child can be enjoying that kind of imagery, that kind of level of filmmaking, but learning a second and potentially a third language. So I applaud you. I think this is absolutely remarkable. So,
thank you. Do you know the studies that show that children who learn a second language actually have better memory, better analytic skills, build stronger vocabularies? It's really a brain booster, actually, to learn a second language. And look, my son watched some Baby Einstein videos when he was little, and I thought that was fine, and I used to refer to it as eye candy.
Yes.
But, when you're watching Little Pim, it's like organic blueberries, because the kids still think it's candy, but that they're learning Spanish.
I love that comparison. I absolutely love that. And, you brought up the fact that they can learn Spanish, but you have so many different languages available.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the different languages.
Yes, we have 12 languages available. We're very proud that we've helped many communities pass on their cultural heritage, whether it's our Japanese or the Hebrew or the Russian, but our most popular languages are Spanish, French, and Chinese.
Okay, really, really remarkable. So tell us a little bit, Julia, about how it works. You got the doll, and what comes with the doll?
So usually people order the plush, who I showed you earlier, and I'll bring him out again. This is Little Pim, the teacher.
So cute.
So usually people order him along with the video series, and that way kids love to hold him while they watch, and they create this very positive association with learning a second language, which is cuddling up with their little panda bear, and he has a little magic pocket here where kids like to keep their treasures. And when they watch the video, they'll see that this is almost like a Mary Poppins bag, where if he wants to make a cake, he'll pull out, a measuring pan and a measuring cup, and he's got everything in there. So they watch the video while holding the panda, and they learn 360 words and phrases through our total immersion method. It's called entertainment immersion method. They only hear the second language. There are some things written in English, but that's just for the parents. The kids are just absorbing through hearing and seeing.
So it's not a question, I know, as we were watching the video, we were seeing the words in the language as well, but really what you're focusing on is them receptively hearing it while they're seeing the visuals.
That is correct. Some people are familiar with the method that my father created, which which is the Pimsleur method. It's one of the most widely sold methods for adults to learn a second language. That one is audio only. We added the visual piece because we know kids love to watch screens, and we just recommend that parents replace a little bit of screen time with little Pim time, and that way they can learn their first 360 words.
Absolutely remarkable. So it's DVDs.
DVDs, which you can buy as, traditional DVDs. They look like this. They come in a 3-pack or a 6-pack, or as digital downloads on the website. If you want to put it right onto your tablet or smartphone, it's very easy to do that. Can get the Panda. We have flashcards that go with it, and also these adorable books that are full of lift the flaps and pull tabs. The idea is to make language learning the most fun part of your child's day. It's never going to be something that'll be a chore. It's really fun for you to do together. That was our goal here at Little Pim.
Really remarkable. And so you've been able to see a lot of children using Little Pim, and how do they respond?
Oh, it's been so wonderful to see. We have been selling now for about 5 years. We've sold over 2 million Little Pim. And we have hundreds of testimonials from parents who write in and say, after just watching a few times, the kids are coming to the dinner table and saying, quiero huevos, I want eggs, or tiene agua, or whatever it is. And they feel so proud, the kids, that they speak a language, especially, in fact, if the parents don't speak it themselves, which is often the case. Most of us had a hard time with language in school, and this way parents are able to give their kids something they didn't have, which is a second language.
And I must say again, we've had many parents who have talked about the fact that they've wanted to, even with kids who are struggling with, learning English as a language, because sometimes, not sometimes, language is a component of autism that our kids are delayed in. And parents have said, one case in particular where a mom wrote in and said, I really want to sign my son up to take a Chinese class, and my mother is giving me a hard time saying, isn't that going to be confusing to them? And we know that it's quite the contrary with neurotypical kids and with kids on the autism spectrum, that when they are being immersed in language and language building skills, that it's actually more conducive to learning more if they're learning more than one language, correct?
You're absolutely right. In fact, 0 to 6 is kind of a magic learning window for languages, where children can learn up to 3 languages without any confusion, with a perfect accent. And in fact, in most other countries, most other industrialized countries, kids are learning a second and sometimes a third language from the age of 5. We're one of only 5 industrialized countries where children are not starting to learn a second language at the early age of 5. So there's something to that. If you go to the Netherlands, to India, to Pakistan, to Africa, all those kids are growing up trilingual.
Yeah, really, really remarkable. And I will say that the parents have written back and said to us, and we've had other doctors come in and confirm that when a child is interested in that kind of thing, that it's amazing. It's very reinforcing to them how much they can learn. And the mom who wrote about the Chinese, her son is doing remarkably with the Chinese.
So she went ahead and did it. I'm happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
As someone who grew up bilingual in French, I can say that it was such a confidence booster for me to know that there was a subject that I mastered, that I could speak a language. It was something even adults were impressed with, even when you're a small child. And I just think it gives a child a huge sense of possibility, too, that you have learned a language that now will open up the world to you. And that's one of the most beautiful things about giving a child that gift.
It's absolutely remarkable. And I just wanted to take a second to talk about some of the success stories of, if you've been on the market now for 5 years, I imagine that you've had some kids start out using Little Pim, and how much progress do they see?
We see kids doing great, really acquiring these full sentences, because we don't just teach words, we actually teach full phrases. So we start with the nouns, then we add in the verbs, and eventually they can get to a fairly complex sentence. I think one of the stories I was most thrilled to hear was a mom who had used Little Pim at home, and then she went and applied to a little kindergarten where it was a French immersion program. And she brought her child in, and they said, well, you must be speaking French at home because your child is really pretty advanced in French. And she was like, no, we don't speak French. My child has been watching Little Pim. So we were thrilled when we heard that story, that we could actually get kids ready to go apply to an immersion program. Now, every child's different, and we don't promise to make anyone bilingual. This is really just about introducing a second language and giving parents and families the tools to be their child's first language tutor.
But you know, and I so appreciate you saying that, but the truth is for autism parents, we're looking to make every single moment that we can a moment that's building skills and adding educational value to our children. And as you were saying, screen time, you know, so much of what our children could be sitting and watching isn't adding educational value. So this is another way during downtime to be teaching more skills and getting the child more immersed in language. And I think at first glance, an autism parent might think, oh, this excludes us because we're just working on English. And I just want to, again, say it's quite the contrary, that this is a great way to build language flexibility for your child and add to their skills. So I think
well,
what
and
you're
I don't
doing
want
is
to get
remarkable.
too much, thank you so much. I don't want to get too geeked out on you with the neuroscience of it, but you know, where language gets processed is in the frontal lobes of the brain, and that's called the executive functions.
Yes.
It's the same part of the brain that processes language, memory, analytic skills. So to give that part of the brain a workout actually strengthens abilities in English as well. So there really are reasons to bring in that second language and have your child get that extra brain workout, for lack of a better word.
And you can geek out with us anytime because we talk about executive functions.
Oh, you do?
We do. We talk about all that all the time, and how important that our, you know, and how you know, the symbol for autism is the puzzle piece, and how important it is that because it's a puzzle piece that it fits with so many other things, and that when our children are behind and deficient in language, you know, we will see deficits in other areas that come up later on. So here's a great way for you to do this with your child and have your child interacting with the plushie, with the videos, in time that you would have had them sitting and watching something like Scooby-Doo. Not that I have anything against Scooby-Doo, but let's face it, if we're trying to get our kids caught up, Scooby-Doo is not really going to help with that. And here, Little Pim is a way that we potentially
can. Thank you so much. Look, I'm a mom, and there's a time for eye candy screen time, right? You can't have your kids doing educational things 24/7, but there's also a time for organic blueberries, right?
Yes.
And if they're having just as much fun watching Little Pim, and you can feel good that they're learning a second language, you know, we see that as a win-win, and it's very much why I created the program when my own son was small.
Well, I think it's remarkable, and again, we want to talk about the fact that all of the different accessories that come with it, they can find on littlepim.com.
Yes, I'll hold some of these up again. This is the book.
Yes.
We've got flashcards. These are really fun to work with, where we always have phonetics for the parents so that you can always know how to say it yourself, even if you don't speak a language. That's helpful, right?
Yes, it is. And I imagine, you know, I mean, honestly, I think what a remarkable thing to have this playing in your home for all the children in your home, but I'm going to guess that the parents pick up some things, too, that are of use to us.
You know, I would say about 50% of the families using Little Pim watch it as a family activity. You know, sometimes mom says, oh, well, I haven't brushed up on my French since college, and this would be fun to sit down and watch with my child. But it can be used in any way. You can have your child watch it on his or her own, or you can sit down, watch it together, and then pull out the flashcards, and it becomes a whole afternoon fun activity.
Just the other day, for the first time, you'll appreciate this, we had a question. We've had questions come in on our live feature in Spanish a lot, but for the first time we had a question come in French, and I murdered it. I totally. Dr. Doreen Grandpichet was here with us, and she speaks French fluently, and so she was able to save it. But
I needed Little Pim. I'm sorry I didn't get you 2 weeks ago.
I know. Maybe I could have read it then. We have a question that did come in on the live feature just now. They said, I would love a product like this for their older son that's a 4th grader, and they want to know if Little Pim is in the works for new language learners who are past 6. And I would argue that the DVD series is going to be perfect for kids who are a little bit older. And I know you have neurotypical kids who are older who like to watch these videos. Yes, Julia?
Well, here's the thing. We have kids of all ages who watch Little Pim. We know it works best with kids 0 to 6 because it's this adorable little panda bear, and he really appeals to kids of that age. But I've seen kids up to age 8 or 9 watch it, and at that point, they're really using it as more like an educational tool. They're sitting down, they're learning the words, they're sort of taking it very seriously, as opposed to young kids who see it as entertainment and later find out they learned something. So they just use it in different ways. But it's definitely worth trying out. Also, for older kids, there's a company called Yabla Hoopla.com, and they have videos online. So if your child is a visual learner, they have videos in French and Spanish, maybe other languages, I'm not sure. That could be something to check out if they're too old for Little Pim.
Well, but I would argue, I have a 10-year-old, and he would love this. He would absolutely love this, and he's on the spectrum, and you know, he would think that it was awesome and cool, and he's in 5th grade. So
I won't tell you, but we have a child who repeatedly appears in the Little Pim video who's actually on the spectrum as well. So we've had a lot of fun working with him and know his family well, and I failed to mention that earlier, so I wanted to bring that up.
No, I'm so glad to know that, and we appreciate that so much. So again, littlepim.com is where they can go, and you said the plushie, the panda bear, is available in Toys R Us. Are some of the other items available in Toys R Us as well?
Toys R Us has what's called the Discovery Set, so it's 3 DVDs and a plush panda, and that just launched about a month ago at Toys R Us nationwide, so we're really excited about that. And then on the website, you can get mix and match of anything you would like, from 1 plush and 1 DVD all the way up to a complete set that would introduce all 360 words and phrases.
Remarkable. Julia, I just think this is so clever and so smart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and happy holidays to all of your families. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and the holidays to follow.
To you as well. Thank you so much for being with us. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Remarkable, remarkable toy, and as I mentioned, we're going to be giving away a Little Pim in this hour, and then we're going to have a total of 5 of them to give away between now and December 20th. So we are giving one away in this hour, and you're going to want to, I have no idea whether the phrase has already appeared on the screen, but when you see the word on the screen, you want to make sure that you email us before 7 p.m. the next morning, 7 a.m., excuse me, 7 a.m. in the morning, and you, in the subject line, make sure that you put, if Little Pim is the item that you want, you put Little Pim in the subject line, and then you put the word or phrase that appears on the screen that Emily pops up at some point in the body of the email, and then you will be entered to win. One of the correct responses will be chosen at random. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about Lego, so stick with us. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Shannon Penrod, and with me in the kitchen right now is Emily Goodwin. She's the technical director of our show and very creative, so I've asked her to be here with me to show you some really fun, easy, and healthy recipes that you can do for Thanksgiving with your children. Okay, so the first thing we want to show you how to do is make this lovely fall bouquet of vegetables. What we've used here are many different colors of peppers, and we made some awesome dip that are holding the skewers of the vegetables so that, yes, Emily's showing you, your kids can dip them in. It really encourages them to eat their colorful veggies. And the dip was made with sour cream, cream cheese, and a lovely organic ranch dip mix. So easy to find and easy to make, and if you chill it, it sets up a little bit harder so that you can stick the skewers in and they stand up. So what we need to make the actual leaves are lots of different colors of peppers that we have, and some skewers and some cookie cutters. Before the kids come though, you want to prep a couple of things and get them ready, because you're going to need a sharp knife to cut into the pears. I'm taking off the top of the pear and the bottom, and I'm removing that to the side, just making a cut into it, and I'm going to take out the seeds and the little spines as much as I can so that I can lay it as flat as possible. And Emily, how about if you pick out a cookie cutter for me there that I'm going to cut. And if you have time, you can cut all these little spines out so that it makes it easier for the kids. And then invite the kids in with the cookie cutters, and you lay it flat. And she's picked this wonderful leaf. I'm going to find a spot where it's going to fit pretty well, and I want to start it, but don't get too far before I take a plate, stick it on top of the cookie cutter, and push down. And you can hear the little crunch sound. It just makes it easier on the hands when you do that. And you can see that sometimes there's little shreds that I need to take care of, but it makes a lovely leaf. And I'm going to hand that off to Emily so that she can skewer it while I take another piece of pepper. This is from a red one. I'm going to make a lovely maple leaf out of this one. I'm going to start it, put the plate on it, and crunch it. And the kids love it. Makes a terrible little crunchy noise, but it's really kind of fun. Get some aggression out, pull it out, and just clean it up a little bit around the edges. But you get the idea. It makes a lovely, crisp autumn leaf that's so colorful. And we stick them in the dip, and the kids enjoy taking them out of the pot and sticking them in the dip and eating them. It's a wonderful way to introduce them to the fun of fresh vegetables and get the rainbow inside them, because we always talk at my house about we need to eat the rainbow. We know that all those colors are good for us, and it tastes good. Wonderful. Easy to do. And now we are going to make some really awesome fruit turkeys. We need a Bosc pear, we need an apple and an orange. This is kind of a light-skinned orange, but it is an orange, and some lemon juice. What I've already done is taken half of a lemon and squeeze it, because we don't want our apples to get brown. Squeeze it, I know. It's spitting at us both. That's okay, it smells good. And I would probably, depending on the age of my child, prep some of this ahead of time. But if they're good with dull knives, and you don't need a sharp knife for any of this, then you can have them help. I just cut the pear in half. And if you wanted to, if your child's a big fruit eater, you could go ahead and core it now, but we're going to assume that they're not going to eat the whole thing. And she's placed her turkey there. Now I'm going to take an apple that's been washed, and I'm just going to cut it into segments. I'm going to take the time to core these and have you dip them in the lemon. That's going to prevent it from browning, because we know that our kids generally don't like to eat things that are brown. They say it's gone bad. Dipping it in the lemon, it gives it a little bit of tang and keeps it from browning. What I like about this is that we're encouraging our children to play with our food. And that's a good thing to get them to eat healthy. Have them play with the food. Arrange it like feathers around the plate. I think that's probably enough. And then I'm going to take the orange and cut it into segments. And these are going to become other feathers on our turkey. And you could put other fruits in, and you could put other vegetables in if you wanted to. You could also put it on a bed of some kind of nut butter if your child doesn't have allergies to those. You could do peanut butter or almond butter, anything like that. So we've got them all arranged so that it looks like feathers. We have to give this turkey some character. So we're going to take half of a cashew, and I'm going to have you figure out where his nose goes and just jam it right in there. And then these are all natural, dehydrated. They're just dried cranberries that we're going to use for a snood. And go ahead and stick a snood next to his little nose. They start to really have some character. And what we did was took really organic, fresh, dried mango pieces and with scissors cut little feet. And the kids can do these with kitty scissors and plop those feet right on there. And this is a great thing to give to a child, something to do, and then they get to eat their turkey, gobble it up. Really healthy, really fresh tasting, fabulous stuff for our kids. Awesome. Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Now we're moving on to our politically correct Native American corn cookies. We have some organic candies here. We have some generic white frosting. We have some fruit roll-up here.
You can get these organic and vegetable colored so that you aren't using artificial colors and flavors. If you choose to, you pretty much have to order them online, but you can get them.
Yes. And then we have just some oval-shaped cookies. You can use any kind of cookie. You can use shortbread or wafer. These are just the ones that we have here. So I split my cookie in half. And then you're just going to use a little bit of frosting. And you're only actually frosting one end of the cookie. So you don't even need that much frosting. And then we're going to use our candies and decorate it to look like an ear of Native American corn.
Mine's very orange. I don't know why. Okay.
So it should look like this when you're there. And this is the hard part, because the fruit roll-up is a little sticky, and I have a sharp knife, but you certainly don't need one. It's very soft to cut, and this one happened to come in 2 colors, so I cut the blue piece off, or you can cut just 1/2 of your fruit roll-up. You're just gonna wrap the bottom half. This just helps support the leaves once you start to attach the green. So you're just wrapping the bottom half of the cookie. Then with the green part, you're gonna wanna cut some leaves just like this. And I cut about 4 of these out with a piece of fruit roll-up I have left. They don't have to be perfect.
And kids will enjoy this, and you really can use a table knife for this.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to do that with my table knife here.
There we go.
Oh, that's super duper easy. It's fun too. It's a little on the sticky side. This is a great sensory thing.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, you're just gonna attach your leaves as if it were an ear of corn. So they'll flap out just a little bit, and I start with the back 2 leaves. And it stretches, it's fruit roll-up. And then front 2 leaves. So it's starting to look like an ear of corn. And then I use the extra fruit roll-up just to wrap the bottom of the cookie to complete the green, because sometimes you can see through to the blue. But then that's it. And you've got your little ear of corn cookie.
Mine's not fully done, but he's coming along. Cool.
Pretty easy.
Very fun and tasty too. Welcome back. Do you see what I have here with me? We're going to talk a little bit about Legos. And I love to talk about Legos, can you tell? First of all, I want to thank the Lego organization because they really wanted to be a part of our Festival of Toys. They weren't able to be with us this week, but they very kindly sent this beautiful, beautiful kit. I want to put it here so that you guys can see it. This is part of the Creator line. And Lego has so many different lines of toys that they carry. So it does not matter whether you have a very young child who's 18 months old, or whether it's a boy or a girl, or they're 4 years old, or they're 12 years old, or they're 32 years old, or 60 years old. There is something in the Lego store for all of us. Absolutely something for everyone. So, and regardless of whether they're an individual who's on the spectrum or not on the spectrum, Lego is a brand that you can trust that there's something that you can get that is going to knock somebody's socks off, right? This particular line, the Creator line, is one of my favorites, and that's, you know, saying a lot because it's like choosing between children, right? But I personally love the Creator line because they stir the imagination with things that are so tied to reality, and yet you can take it to another realm, right? So when we talk about symbolic play and things like that, with this kit, you can see this is the tree house. And they're estimating, you know, age range 7 to 12, but honestly, what we just want to think about in terms of that is skill level. So this is a little bit harder. It's not going to be one of the super duper easy ones because it has a lot of pieces involved in it, but someone with the finger skills of a typical 7-year-old is going to be able to do this. So you're going to gauge for yourself in terms of your child and their finger skills, but by the way, this works on those fine motor skills. It also works on visual motor. It works on executive functioning and planning skills and cognition skills, but you can use Legos to work on almost anything. If you're going to work on counting, and I have here a bucket of Legos. This is the greatest starter kit, and we're going to be giving this away a little bit later on in the month. This, by the way, was donated by Toys R Us, and you can't see because it's green on the top, but it comes with a base plate, and then it comes with just a bunch of loose Legos, an instruction manual that gives you some suggestions of some things, but you know, it's endless what you could potentially build with this starter set of Legos. And I think it's great to start every single child out with that kind of a starter pack. There are also, for younger kids, the Duplos that can work hand in hand with the Legos later on. So if you're worried about choking hazard, until a child is not mouthing things, right? If they're putting things in their mouth, work with the Duplos. They are big enough that they are not a choking hazard and super duper fun. We gave my niece Duplos when she was, I think, 8 months old. And now there's a whole line of Lego Friends for girls. Oh my goodness. Really, really remarkable stuff. And you know, and I say for girls, and shame on me for having said that, because it's Lego Friends are really for all kids. I think the girls are in particular attracted to them, but we don't want to stereotype, but you can work on all kinds of
of social things with the Lego Friends line. I just love it. But here we have this beautiful, beautiful tree house, and this is the prize today. One of the prizes during this hour, we're giving away a little Pim and this beautiful, beautiful tree house that could really make somebody's holiday season extra, extra bright. And there are many different ways that this tree house can be put together, and they're giving you some of the different suggestions. I'm going to turn the box around here so that there are 3 different little houses that you can build here, and that's one of the other things that I love about the Creator line, is because this is going to work on flexibility with kids too. But keep in mind that, you know, they have Hobbit Legos, they have Marvel Legos, they have Star Wars Legos, just about anything that you can, they have Harry Potter Legos, just about anything that you could possibly think of. There's even Minecraft Legos now. My son just found out about this the other day. I thought he knew. I thought his head was going to explode. You can't go into a Lego store and not become a child again and want to sit down and play. You can sit a grown adult down at a Lego table with a bucket of Legos and they will have a ball for hours. They'll build. It's very relaxing and it works on so many different skills. So Legos, they're absolutely brilliant toys, virtually indestructible. They're the kinds of things you can hand down from generation to generation. What more can I say? We love Lego. How can you not? Great, great toys for our great, great kids. And this toy, this treehouse, is going to go to somebody who has watched during this hour, found the word. Make sure that in the subject line, especially because we're giving away 2 gifts during this hour, in the subject line, if you want the Lego treehouse, put that in the subject line, and then the word or phrase in the body that you send off to our email. We're going to take a break while I sit here and hug the Legos, and we'll be back to finish out the show. Stick with us.
Skills is an online program that provides assessment, curriculum, positive behavior support planning for challenging behavior, and progress tracking, and it does this all in one place. The Skills Assessment and Curriculum addresses 8 areas of development, which even includes advanced higher level areas such as executive functions and cognition, which pretty much makes Skills the only ABA-based set of curricula for teaching more complex skills, things like problem solving, planning, self-management, perspective taking, and even inferring and predicting others' private events. Skills is a 4-step system. Step 1 is to add the child to your account. Step 2 is to start assessment. The Skills Assessment is the only ABA-based assessment with psychometric research demonstrating the language subscale to have excellent reliability. Every area of human functioning and typical child development from infancy to adolescence was researched, making the Skills Assessment the most comprehensive of its kind in the world, and we're quite proud of that.
Skills is easy to use. Simply click Start Assessment and begin answering questions. Or simply type in a keyword, find specific activities to assess, and add activities to treatment. Step 3. Choose activities. Once you've completed the assessment, Skills selects from a pool of 4,000 activities categorized by age, level, and skill type to provide you with exactly those activities each child needs. Start by choosing a curriculum, then a lesson, and finally an activity. Click the information icon to view prerequisites, ages in which targets develop, examples, and IEP goals. Click the video icon to watch a short video. Once you've identified an activity you want to teach, adding activities to treatment is a snap. Step 4. Start treatment. Here you can access customizable activity lesson details, add your own customized targets and exemplars, and edit an activity status such as introducing or mastering it. You can even print handouts such as worksheets, tracking forms, visual aids, and other materials. Skills also offers multiple progress charts mapping curriculum progress, lesson progress, and cumulative number of activities and targets mastered over time. The Skills language curriculum is categorized by verbal behavior type so that users can identify progress for verbal operants, such as echoics, mans, hacks, and interverbals.
Skills is one of the only programs that provides the ability to write behavior intervention plans, or BIPs, for challenging behavior.
With just a few clicks, the outline of the behavior intervention plan is written for you and ready to be printed and implemented.
You can learn more about Skills today and get started by visiting us at www.skillsforautism.com, or you can call us at 877-975-4559. Skills. Progress starts here.
Welcome back to Autism Live. I wanted to take a couple of seconds here at this end of this week of Festival of Toys to talk about some of the questions that you guys answered throughout the week on our Facebook. So today we asked you what kinds of play your child enjoys the most. Overwhelmingly, you guys said computer time. We had a couple of people who said, you know, working with blocks and doing things like Legos and dress up time. But overwhelmingly, you guys have said computer time, which kind of, you know, I mean, I think we can all relate to this. One of the things that it tells us that we already know, it's like the duh that's heard around the world, but that's really reinforcing to our kids when they can interact with something. And it's not just our kids. We're all being reinforced by computer time. What I particularly love, though, is that now toy manufacturers and game manufacturers and different therapy centers are starting to put more and more apps there that give our children an opportunity to play games while they're learning, so that that computer time isn't wasteful. But if we're learning while we're having fun on the computer, you know, win-win-win, right? We also asked you guys the other day where you like to buy your educational toys. Not a great deal of response, but some people have said that they love to buy Legos and that you can buy them absolutely anywhere. And gosh, that's almost true. I saw Legos in a grocery store the other day, so you know, there you have it. Although I will tell you that I love to go to lego.com and purchase things. And did you know that there's a thing on lego.com? You have to hunt around for it, but it's called Pick a Brick, where you can order specific bricks that you want. If your kids are into the little minifigures, like you can order a bunch of heads, and there's like a price per head. It might be $0.25. Can be a very exciting thing to be able to do. Once upon a Christmas, my mother gave my son a certain amount of money to go on lego.com and to do Pick a Brick and pick, oh my gosh. It was exciting on a couple of different occasions, because it was exciting when he got to do it, and it was exciting when they arrived. It was like Christmas 2 times over. He just thought it was so cool. Other people have said that they like to buy things from Amazon, and I know that that's a great way to be able to purchase toys and not be out in all the crushing crowds. And somebody else said Oriental Trading, and I know when you're buying things in bulk, Oriental Trading is Oriental Trading company sells things, and usually I think though it's larger amounts. So if you're working with a lot of kids, then I could definitely see where that would be. Wanted to scroll back a little bit. We asked you, what's your child's favorite toy of all time? Love looking at some of these responses. Somebody said she changes all the time, although her Barney doll, I know, we talked about this yesterday. The kids love them, parents don't. What are you going to do? Although her Barney doll was her favorite for the longest time. Oh, and coloring doesn't matter with what. Love that. Budding artist. Somebody else who said 4 white papers and 1 black Sharpie marker. Love, that's a creative child right there. And lately she's discovered her sister's old Pixel Chicks house robot. I don't know that toy. I'm excited to see what that is. Somebody else who says iPad. Another person voting for the 3DS. And then there it is, Legos, the one item that I swore I would never allow in my house, LOL. And then, you know, we all get addicted to them, right? Another one for iPad. My 4-year-old has been using one since he was 18 months old. Budding computer genius, I see. Another person who says iPad, no massive surprise there. Yes, well, someone else who says Kindle and a stuffed bear. And yet another person who says a Toys R Us swing that can mount up with eye hooks on the bedroom door. A lot of our kids like to swing. I've got some more here. I'm going to wait for the computer to update here. a stuffed Elmo. He carries it everywhere. Next week, we've got an Elmo coming up that's going to be part of the giveaway, a Dress Me Elmo. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Oh, this is a popular one, too. Thomas the Tank Train Set. We know that's very popular with our kids on the autism spectrum. And what's remarkable about Thomas the Tank, it's the trains, right? And kids love trains. But the fact that they have faces is a really remarkable thing for our kids on the autism spectrum, because they're not drawn to real faces, but they're drawn to those animated faces, and a great way to work on some of the different social stuff if used properly. Leap Pad, we love that. We gave one of those away this week, and we've got another one coming up in the weeks to come. I love, Mike Hipple says, Mr. Potato Head with Dress Up. Mike, I'm with you. We love, I don't know, Mike, if you've been to Disneyland, because they have a place in Disneyland where you can get your Mr. Potato Head, and there's this huge carousel that has all these different body parts, and sometimes they change with the times of the year, and you get a box, and as many pieces as you can fit in the box you get for one price. It's very fun. We love to go and get Mr. Potato Head pieces that are, you know, very obscure and very Hollywood. That particular place that I'm talking about is in California Adventure, and by us. So I wonder, Mike, if you've ever had the opportunity to go to one of those. Pretty exciting. Another person who says balls, all different kind. He seems to love the textures, the sounds they make when he rubs his thumb on them, and how the sides are all the same. You know what? I want to encourage you to check out, go to fatbraintoys.com and type in balls and see all the different kinds of balls that they have there. It's going to blow your mind. Really cool stuff. Okay, so many more things here, and I think, I'm not sure if that was the last question of the day. Oh, what toy do you always recommend to other parents? Let's take a look at those. And the computer's taking a while to come up with it. So, oh, here it is. My son loves books and anything musical, so one of his favorite things is musical books. Yes, I have several parents who report that, you know, those ones that you touch and do, the kids love that. Those interactive books that have the buttons on them that they can push to make music, and he has a ton of those. Somebody else says, we bought our son a Nobby 2 tablet this year. It has bumpers around the edges. We're going to be featuring Nobby here, so that if it drops, it won't hurt, and it operates on an Android platform, so any app you could put on an adult Android tablet or phone, you can put on the Nobby 2. It's really a remarkable tablet. It has parental controls to keep him from doing anything that he shouldn't, like accidentally buying apps. I've had that happen. You can take it into mommy mode or daddy mode to set it up, or even use it like your own tablet, then put it back in child mode. Very versatile. We got the Disney version at Best Buy because he loves Disney, and I'm hoping that will break the ice to get him interested. One thing I love is not buying a ton of cartridges just for them to get lost or lined up all over the house. Sure, there we go. And she reports that he is 10, and she even put a link here for the Nobby tablet for kids. Love it. Somebody else says craft toys. I think that those are always fun too. You know who makes some great craft toys is both Lowe's and Home Depot carry some of the things that you do on those Saturday classes. They carry those packaged, and that's a great gift to give to a kid who likes to build. Somebody else says that she can build anything, and I'm not sure I understand that, but she's bored with regular toys, but she can build anything out of other things and create stories out of the smallest things, like envelopes, blocks. That's that symbolic play. Very good. It really depends on what area that they don't have skills in for a gift. Sensory, a trampoline, or a stuffed animal, play skill, whatever toy that they've been exposed to, expose and teach skills, play with that particular toy. Somebody else says something musical but not too loud, like that. Stuff from the Sense Abilities website, great thing, and Whiz Kids from Discovery Toys, love that. Remarkable week. We want to take a second to thank all of the people who donated toys and were here with us to talk about how these different items can be useful to our kids. Throughout the coming weeks, we're going to be giving away everything that you saw on the show and more, and we're going to continue to talk from time to time about toys, but we're going to go back to our regular schedule where we'll have guests on. Next week, short week, just a show on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Wednesday, it's the Ask Dr. Doreen Anxiety Hour. Make sure that your questions are coming in for that. We want to thank you for being a part of this amazing week. And if you win one of these remarkable toys, make sure that you send us a picture. You can do it when you get it, or you can wait and take a picture of the child after they received it for the holiday gift. But make sure you send a picture back to us. We want those pictures to be able to share with the joy that has been spread by these wonderful, wonderful toy companies who make great toys and have been willing to share them with us this week. I thank you for spending the week with us. I hope that you have a remarkable weekend. We're going to be back for those two shows and then take a break for Thanksgiving that we all need. Until next Tuesday, please give your kiddos a hug from me. Bye-bye for now.